بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Most welcome to lecture number 8 in children's literature. I guess the course content is easy enough, and that inshallah you will be able to read the novel yourselves and appreciate it and come up from it with the main story and the main plot and characterization and so on. But as usual, my job is not to tell you the story and the plot, but to open up certain issues that are very important to our understanding of the novel. The major issue that I began with in this course, in this very interesting course, is to talk about the characteristics of children's literature, and we have had some time, let's say 2 lectures or 3 lectures talking about this. This is one of the real interesting approaches to the novel, to study the characteristics of children's literature. But today I will add up another approach. In lecture 8, as I'm saying here, this is the title, Approaches. We have been trying to understand the novel as an example of children's literature. We talked about the characteristics. However, we need to think all the time of the following very important issues, which we will come across many times. They are 3 major things. The one in red, the one in red color, has already been tackled. We talked about it. It is the characteristics of children's literature, already done. What we need is to say more and to understand more about feminism and about railways and how effective they were on the life of people in the 19th century. If you study the 3 things and the book, then I guarantee you will be excellent students and scholars as well of children's literature and of the railway children. You are now 1/3 to go. We need another 2/3. The second point then is feminism. That will be our subject for today, inshallah. Today let us start with the first and second topics. The first is feminism and the second is railways. I guess we will have to leave railways until next lecture. But as we have done with the characteristics of children's literature, we mix theory and practice. We do not just talk theoretically, ideally, in a vague way about the course on the novel, but we couple that with the text itself and with examples from the book. So first of all, ask yourselves, what is feminism? It comes from femina in French, which means a female person, that is to say a woman or a girl. And ISM at the end of the word means a school of thought, a number of ideas, a number of scholars, a number of movements under the word feminism, talking about the definition we are going to read now, the interest in women and women's issues, in the good, in the interests, in the hope, in the ambitions, in the dilemma, in the disappointment of women, in everything relating to women, in all problems, in all aspects, in all topics, in all ideas, even the history, even the place, even the position, the marriage, the mentality, the heart, the feelings. All such matters are subject for feminism, are the background, the necessary background information that is to be grouped under the word feminism. Once again, as I said, when you deal with any issue, even the history part in the book, in the course I mean, try to remember the course, try to remember the book, try to remember the text, stay on the ground, okay, get down to earth, apply it to the text. It also deals mainly with how women have been subjected and suppressed by men. I mean, the relationship between men and women. One point is talking about women and their problems and their issues. Another very important point also is to talk about the relationship between men and women. To understand all this, please try to understand the coming quotation. I have brought you a very important quotation from a book called Jane Eyre by a writer called Charlotte Bronte. This is Jane Eyre and this is Charlotte Bronte, also in the second half of the 19th century. So if you understand this quotation, which is divided into three parts, this one, and that one, okay, 1, 2, 3, just three points, three parts of the quotation. It's a small one, but the language is archaic, it is a bit old, and you need to focus your attention so much so that you understand it all. When you understand it, you will understand the novel very much. I will explain it bit by bit, and I will comment on it later. It is in vain, that is to say, it is useless to say that human beings, people in general, ought to be satisfied with tranquility. First, the key words, the difficult words: tranquility, stilla, doom, millions, rebellions. Okay, in vain, useless. The writer says that please don't say that human beings should be happy with tranquility. That is to say, with peace of mind, with stillness. She doesn't want that. She is not happy with that. She wants movement. She wants change. They must have action. And mind you, she is saying human beings. She is not saying women, which means she is equating men and women. Men and women need change. Men and women need freedom. Tranquility is something of the past. Tranquility was an issue relating to history. Now, after the tranquility of Wordsworth and the Romantics at the beginning of the 19th century, writers and people actually, and women more than men, wanted freedom. They wanted action, and they will make it if they cannot find it. If they cannot find action, they will make it. Do you understand? Millions of human beings, still talking about human beings in general, not about men only, millions are condemned to a stiller doom than mine. There are many people just like me, millions of people. I'm not alone in this. She is talking about herself. I'm not alone in suffering from stillness. No, I know for sure that there are millions of people who suffer from a stiller doom than mine, from a fate that is still, from staying still at home, doing nothing, and suffering from this kind of boredom and boring life. And millions, that is to say millions of people, men and women, are in silent revolt against their lot, against their doom. Oh my God, now we have rebellion like the rebellion in Animal Farm and like the French Revolution, and here they want freedom like the French Revolution sought liberty and freedom. We suffer from boredom and stillness and stagnation, and we need to revolt against this situation. Nobody knows how many rebellions, besides political rebellions, ferment in the masses of life which people earth. Nobody knows how much anger and exasperation is there in the hearts of people. So she is prescribing the problem. The problem is that there is boredom, there is stillness, there is stagnation, and the solution is in change and in movement. She is equating men and women. She is talking about both sexes, not just men and women. Women are supposed to be very calm generally. So this is the idea in the minds of everyone about women, that women are calm. She is asking, why do you say this about women? Aren't women the same as men? Aren't they human beings? Are all human beings calm and supposed to be calm? No. If man is supposed to be calm, then women are supposed to be calm. But men are not calm and women are not calm. But women feel just as men feel. So here is equality. They are the same. They are on parallel lines. Women feel just as men feel. They need exercise for their faculties and a field for their efforts as much as their brothers do. They suffer from too rigid a restraint, too absolute a stagnation, precisely as men would suffer, exactly as men would suffer. They suffer from the same thing, from the problem of stagnation, staying at home doing nothing, just like men in the 19th century. That is the time for rebellion, revolt, change, liberty, freedom. And it is narrow-minded. It will be close-minded and narrow-minded and shallow and bad in their more privileged fellow creatures in men. If men say that they ought to, that they should, that is to say, stop it, please, this is shallow, this is narrow-minded, this is unacceptable. Unacceptable to do what? To confine themselves to making puddings and knitting stockings, or playing on the piano, or embroidering bags, which is the things that women, as we see them in movies, used to do in the 18th and the 19th centuries. That was the idea at the back of men's minds. What are women? Staying at home, doing nothing, confining themselves to making puddings, sweets, knitting stockings, and playing on the piano, and embroidering bags. She says this is narrow-minded. No, we are not the same anymore. Let us sum up the last slides in one word: equality. Equality between men and women. That was the key word. She needed equality. She needed to feel that she is the same as men, right? What was the common idea about women in the Victorian age? They were forced to confine themselves to making puddings, knitting stockings, playing on the piano, and embroidering bags. And the end of the quotation is really very important, significant. It is thoughtless again. Thoughtless, as she says, in vain, as she says, narrow-minded. It is, please don't say it. It is thoughtless to condemn them, to condemn women, or laugh at them if they seek to do more or learn more than custom has pronounced necessary for their sex, for their gender as women. Allow them to do more, please. Allow them to learn more, please. Don't stop them, don't limit them, don't confine them in making puddings and embroidering bags and stockings and so on. Do you understand? So in one word, Charlotte Bronte, just like Edith Nesbit, the writer of The Railway Children, wanted women to feel equal to men and to have energy and to exercise themselves and to have an outlet for their own emotions and their own energies. Summary of this approach, which is feminism. In the 19th century, both men and women were suppressed, men and women, and that is why she began with men. She began with human beings, which means men and women. Both of them were suppressed. If you remember something called censorship, it was not easy for people to express themselves, to vote even in elections, or to have repentance or forgiveness when they went to the church in order to have forgiveness. That was through a third agent or another agent. They didn't do that freely. They lived in stagnation. That was the age of stagnation. Nothing moved, nothing happened. They needed freedom. Men and women. Men thought that women do not have any faculties or energies. That was the idea, the vague idea, the common idea, the wrong idea, the mistaken idea, the bad idea in the minds of people, that women are supposed to have no faculties or energies. Men regarded the place of women to be home, and only home. What is the right place for women? To go to work? To study at the university? No. The place of women, according to men in the 19th century, was normally, customarily, regularly, understandably, home. Staying at home, bringing up children, taking care of the husband and the children. No more than that. Women are not different. What the quotation tells us also is that women are not different from men in wanting change and in desiring the expression of their powers. Just like men, they need change, they need an expression of their powers. Let us move to the novel itself. Now we are in the middle of the presentation, I think. We have about 21 slides, yes. In the radio, children, we are told in an indirect way of this eternal struggle between men and women. Please pay attention. Every word I'm saying here is important. Indirectly. The writer wants to serve the issue of feminism, to support women, but she does that in a beautiful indirect way, because to do so in a direct way would be rough and vulgar and revolting. Not many readers would like woman writer to keep supporting women in this way. They would just shun it. No, she does that in an indirect way. We are also told of how women do their best to achieve themselves and to arrive at self-assertion, which is the essence of feminism. What is the essence of feminism? Self-assertion, achieving themselves. Mother, that's the greatest example in the novel. Mother is different from all 19th century mothers. If you go back to the book itself, what does it say? I guess we stopped at this quotation before. Mother was totally different from any other woman at that time. Yes, that quotation. She was totally different indeed. Here goes. Mother did not spend all her time in paying dull calls to dull ladies and sitting dully at home waiting for dull ladies to pay calls to her. She was not dull. She was different. She was better. She was almost always there, ready to play with the children and read to them and help them to do their home lessons. Besides this, she used to write stories for them while they were at home, at school, and so on. I think we came across this. So this is an example of how mother was different from any other mother at that time. She may not have to work away from home now. At this point of time, at the beginning of the novel, she doesn't work. She stays at home. But unlike other women at her time, she gives almost all her time to her family. Almost all her time, feeling very responsible for them. And we have read this very important quotation. Mother has brought up her children in a very decent way, though she doesn't work. She does not have a profession. And we also do not have any clue in the novel as to whether or not she has received any form of education. But she is very wise and she is very cultured. She reads a lot, she writes a lot, she understands a lot, and she brings up her children in a very good way. She has given them the major values they live upon when they grow up alone without father. You will know that father leaves them after a while and she becomes busy. When she becomes busy and the children are alone without the continuous presence of father or mother, they have the values they remember from what their mother told them before. Examples. When Peter asks Ruth, the servant, about father, and later on he feels very sorry because kids are not supposed to do so. He remembers that mother told them not to talk to servants about the family. He does that as a child. He commits a mistake, but because he has been brought up in a good way, he apologizes. Also, when he and Roberta quarrel in the absence of mother goes away to look for work and for money, and they begin to be rough to each other. Mother comes back and talks to them, and they feel very sorry that they did that. They soon realize that this is not nice and become friends again. They tell some family secrets to the station master. Later on in the novel, they become friends with the station master, and little by little they begin to talk to him about the secrets of home, which is not good in any well brought up family, and they certainly feel very sorry about that. They still call from the station. Again, Peter does that, leading his sisters to it in order to help mother, who was sick and poor. He thought of helping his mother by bringing coal from the station, and that coal, of course, is stolen. It is not his. It is not his family's. He is not allowed to do it, so he does that without the knowledge of the station master, and he is caught actually doing this, and this is a theft, of course. What happens? They apologize to the station master, and they understand that all this is wrong. Though they are children, they know what is wrong and what is right. Why? How have they known what is wrong and what is right? Through mother and through her upbringing of them. Another aspect of feminism is the continuous struggle between Peter as a boy and his sisters, and this is a very nice streak in the novel. We have had an example in chapter 1 when Peter asks father if girls can mend engines too. Can girls mend engines, father, like you are doing it and like me helping you now? Thinking that father would say no, girls are girls, they cannot do it. But father is wise enough. The wise father, also the wise author. Behind the father and behind the mother and behind the children there is an author. That author and that father replies to Peter in a very good and enlightening way. He says that girls are as fit as boys, as capable as boys, as equal. The thing that we read together in the quotation, girls are as fit as boys. He talks to Roberta and Phyllis about it, and he doesn't talk to Peter in detail. He talks to Phyllis and to Roberta, asking them if they could really want to become engine drivers. Peter says also in one very interesting section in chapter 1, he quarrels with Roberta. He raises his voice and uses rough language with his sister, and father has been taken already away from them, and he says he tries to explain his position to his sister, saying, I didn't mean to insult you, it was just what is it that father says? A germ of endearment. A germ of endearment, as you can see in the book. A germ, yes, of endearment. That is on page 14. Now, I don't mean what you mean. I mean it's just, what is it father calls it? A germ of endearment. And then, good night. Showing himself to be manly, to be a man like his father. Germ, of course, here means term. It's a word of endearment. It's one way of showing you that you are dear to me. Do you understand? So, but as a boy, he doesn't remember the word term, so he says germ. Germ is not the right word, of course, in chapter 1. In order to show up as the man of the house. It is funny because we know that the real phrase is a term of endearment. Another way of showing mother as the perfect example of the woman idealized by the author is in the contrast we have between her and Ruth and Aunt Emma. And that is a very fine way. You have mother, very good, and you have Ruth, the servant, and Aunt Emma. Both of them are extreme examples of bad women. And here is a table that I have made for you to show you the differences between Ruth, the servant, Aunt Emma, and mother. Ruth is red-headed. She doesn't look pretty. Aunt Emma is disorganized, disorderly. Mother is pretty and clean. Ruth is rough. Aunt Emma doesn't play with the children. Mother is always there. Ruth is reckless and rash. Aunt Emma stays away from kids. She doesn't talk to them. Mother is wise. Ruth uses indecent words. Aunt Emma insults children. Mother is very sweet with the kids. Not educated. A governor, a writer, a poet, so cultured. Driven away from the house finally. Travels to Germany. And mother is a real example to follow, even when she is sick or busy. A real difference. Ruth and mother, and then Ruth and mother, and then you will have Aunt Emma and mother in other examples. Let's begin with Ruth and mother. Mother asks Ruth to brush the hair of the children. She does that violently because mother almost always did this, and now she is busy. So she's asking her to do it, and Peter says, I say, Ruth, what is up? Trying to show like a man. What is it? What is wrong? What has happened to father? Don't ask me more questions. I won't tell you more lies. She's a woman and she's talking like this. So how would you understand the character of Ruth? Violent, rough. She is red-headed. You'll know soon enough. Don't talk to me like that. One day when Peter had made a booby trap over the bathroom door and it had acted beautifully as Ruth passed through, that red-haired parlor maid, look at how the narrative voice refers to her, that woman caught him and boxed his ears. You'll come to a bad end, she said furiously, angrily. You nasty little lamb. Jew, if you don't mend your ways, you'll go where your precious father is gone. So I tell you straight. But she is using violent language. We are comparing Ruth and mother. When mother knew this through Roberta, the next day Ruth was sent away by mother. Do you understand? Aunt Emma and mother. Mother was nearly always out, busy. Meals were dull and dirty. The between maid was sent away and Aunt Emma came on a visit. Aunt Emma was much older than mother, much older. Mother is better. She was going to Germany to be a governess. She was very busy. Mother was always there. Her clothes were very ugly clothes. So by contrast, you know the difference between mother and Aunt Emma. And she had them always littering about. She is disorderly. The sewing machine, on and on all day and multiply. Aunt Emma believed in keeping children in their proper places. Children are children and grown-up people are grown-up people. And the children treated her in the same way. The idea of Aunt Emma's proper place was anywhere where they were not. They didn't like to talk to her or to deal with her, so they saw very little of her. They preferred the company of the servants, who were more amusing. Imagine, Aunt Emma is different from mother, above, right? You could read the rest of the quotation here. The cook, for example, could sing to them, but Aunt Emma was not like the servants or like the maid servant or like the cook. The servants never told the children what the bad news was that the gentleman had brought to father, but they kept hinting that they could tell a great deal if they chose, and this was not comfortable. So here in today's lecture I have tried as much as possible to talk to you about one very important approach to the novel, and this is feminism. Feminism means the interest in women, the idea that women are as important, as powerful, as intelligent, as capable as men are. We have dealt with the character of the mother, with Peter, with Ruth, with Aunt Emma. We have selected some quotations to exemplify and to prove our point. Thank you very much. And next time, inshallah, we will talk about the third approach, which is the railways. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.